just about finished the weatherboard cladding to the outside of the kitchen, which is the front wall of the house. Before I can clad the eave, I've got to add the extra wall studs that have to be fitted. And before I can do that, I have to make sure that the bottom of the front truss is straight. I've put a string line on it, and you can see there is a little bit of a bow there. So to keep that straight and to get that straight, I need bracing out here, and I'll be using the battens for that, which will hold the ceilings up here. And in this particular point, I'll use the roof walkway planks to do it. So I've got my diagram for the veranda sheeting linings. So I'm going to start over here. I'll put my first lining batten in there off the edge of the house, and then checking the diagram, I'll space the rest of the ceiling battens back across that way, and those ceiling battens will act as bracing to keep the bottom of that truss straight. I'll also add some timber as I go, just for extra strengthening. So that's what I've got to do before I can clad the front. I've got all the ceiling battens for the front veranda in place, and that extra walkway runner, and the effect of all that has been to really stiffen up the bottom edge of the truss there, so it's nice and straight and it can't move. Some of you may be wondering, why use battens? Why not just put the ceiling sheets straight onto the bottom of the roof trusses? Well, there's two reasons you use battens. One is because the bottom of the trusses varies tremendously because of the weights and the stresses on the trusses. They bend and flex when they're put into place, so they're nowhere near straight. So you can see here where I've had to pack them at various thicknesses just on that particular one to get the ceiling batten straight. If I hadn't packed that and I just screwed it to the bottom of the roof truss, the roof would have had a woofle in it. The second reason is because that you use roof battens is because the spacing of the trusses is different to the sheeting. There it's spaced at 830 mils or 83 centimetres, and the sheets are 1.2 wide, so the best spacing for your battens is 600, which is what you've got round here. So the sheets which are going to go that way will match the width of those roof battens, and so all the edges will line up when I put the sheets up. Apart from stiffening the bottom edge of this truss, there was another reason why I needed to put these ceiling battens in before I clad this front truss, and that's because the ceiling sheets are going to be there. So rather than the cladding going down to the bottom of the truss, it's got to go down and overlap the ceiling. So I needed those battens all the way along so that I can make sure that the bottom edge of my cladding on this front truss is down far enough to match up with the ceiling. I fitted all the upright wall studs to the eastern gable end, and you can see I've put fly screen wire behind the gable vent to stop wasps getting through the slats and into the roof and making nests and any other flying pests. Next step is to put the sprinkler system in the eaves. The insulation to the western wall of the house is finished. Up above the roof line you can see the insul wool with the sarking on either side, behind the weatherboard and on this side. And the insul wall down here, it's got sarking on the other side behind the weatherboard. I can't put sarking on the inside because I have to be able to glue the gyprock sheets onto the wall studs, and the whole outside wall of the house will be done that way. Now over here I've got the veranda, and there's no point insulating the veranda roof even though there's going to be a ceiling there, because the heat can get underneath it. So I've taken my roof insulation blanket along to that last batten, which is over the in line with the wall of the house, and I've got to put insulation blanket along there to seal that off. On the southern side of the house, by comparison, the roof only goes down over the short eave. See that gap up the top there between the roof iron and the top plate of the wall? It would be very easy to leave that and just insulate here, but the heat's going to come out from outside and come in through that gap. So when you're doing insulating, it's very important to seal all your gaps to get the full effect of your insulation, and I'll have to do that right down that side of the house. Behind that sarking is insulation blanket as well, and the sarking actually is doubled over and goes over the top and down the back of the blanket, so that gap is well sealed, and it needs to be. I've finished blocking in the top of the northern veranda wall with double layer insulation. That's way above building requirements. The blanket is R2.5 and the foil on the outside is R1.5. Got a little bit more to do up there in the eave, but I don't want to do that yet because I think the wind pressure that can get in there until I put this veranda ceiling on will just blow it out, so I'll just leave that there at the moment. This side of the house is now insulated from the veranda's heat and is sealed off from insects, which is good because I found a couple of wasp nests inside the house. My next job is to put battens in between these floor joists to stop them twisting anymore.